another episode of Wilmington Spotlight. Patrick, thank you for joining us again.
Austin, it's always great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we really love the informational perspective on all this stuff. So we're actually here to talk about Fall Fest, I believe it is.
Yeah, it's crazy. We were just here. Gosh, it feels like the other day talking about fun on the 4th, done and over with, and here we are, end of summer, and we're planning fall activities. It's exciting.
That's it. Now, this is actually fairly new. This is not as concrete as the 4th is. This is is this the third or second year?
This is our second year, yeah. So we started Fall Fest last year. 2023 was our inaugural year. The committee got together in the summer after Fun on the 4th was over, and we, talked about different ways to bring the town together. People love the community activities. People love fall activities. So there was a lot of things that blended together, and Fall Fest was born and invented. It follows a lot of the same models, a lot of the same, platforms as Fun on the 4th, but it has a total different look and feel to it. It's designed to be a much more low-key in terms of operations and management. Right. Given, Fun on the 4th planning and Fall Fest planning overlap, you don't want to burden, volunteers with too much, planning and work.
So on that note, it's the July 4th committee that runs both of these events?
Yeah, that's right. Lighting? Yeah, so the Wilmington 4th of July committee, we run, obviously, Fun on the 4th. We run Fall Fest now, and we also run the winter tree lighting as well. We have a core group of individuals that, execute Fun on the 4th. We have a core group that execute Fall Fest, and we have a core group that execute the tree lighting. But together, the committee will, make big decisions, and we'll all support all three events.
Good. And it's all volunteers. This is entirely
all volunteers. Yeah, we are a 9-member group, and we execute these events. And, of course, we're manned by an army of volunteers. For Fun on the 4th, for example, we have up to 70 volunteers. Fall Fest is about the same thing. We can't do it without the community's help and support. But, yeah, in terms of the overall management and design of the event, it's down to 9 people.
Now, that's incredible. So this is entirely run by our community for our community.
That's right.
All volunteers.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All residents of Wilmington. It's
right.
It's something that we believe very firmly in. If you're going to be planning these events and organizing them, then you should be a resident of the town.
Right. And you do it in partnership with the town? Or the town does?
Yeah, so I always like to describe, and this goes for all the events, especially Fall Fest and the 4th, we're a great public and private partnership. The 4th of July Committee in itself is a private organization. Mm-hmm. We are a not-for-profit organization, but of course we rely heavily on the town, whether it's the resources, the land that we operate on, restrictions for permits. We uphold all the same permits that a lot of other businesses do, if you will, in terms of food permits and event permits and, building permits even. So, right. We have some great partners that we work with in the town, so we're able to put on these awesome events.
Yeah, and I actually attended last year's. It was a huge success. It was big. It was, fairly large for a first year inaugural event.
Yeah, we had no idea what to expect, Austin. We designed the event. We invited some vendors, some crafters, some food trucks. We had a lot of great kids' activities, and we said, let's see how it goes. If it's good, it's good. But if people don't come out for it, we totally get it. It's a Saturday in the fall. School's starting up. There's a lot of other things going on, soccer, other right. sports activities. But the community outreach was incredible. The event was from 10 to 4, and we had over 6,000 folks that walked through the event. So it was a little overwhelming, to be honest, but we're certainly in a better position now where we're, ready for it. We're managing the event. We're organizing the event for a mass, volume in terms of people coming through. We're, adding a lot more activities, a lot more vendors, so we could spread the event out a little more and we can make it more fun for everybody.
That's pretty cool. Expand on that. So you mentioned activities and vendors. So, for instance, let's start with, what do you have for vendors and how does that work? Is it businesses around town?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So the event is broken up into a lot of different segments. So we kick off the day with a 5K. That's new for this year. People love 5Ks nowadays, whether you're walking, whether you're running, whether you're a family just looking to get some exercise in. Everybody gets a nice medal, a T-shirt, so it's a nice way to kick off the day. We have Wow Factor Auto Detailing that's going to be doing a breakfast in the morning as well. That kicks it off with the 5K, and then at 10 a.m. doors open for the event. So, going back to the segments I was talking about, we have a vendor and business segment where, you have a lot of local artisans and crafters from the area that come in. They'll set up a beautiful booth. They'll sell all of their, various handmade goods that they've been working on throughout the year. We also have a business section where local businesses, business owners, whether they're selling services or products, they can come set up a nice table and maybe solicit business, or they could even sell some products. It's a great way to get the name out there. And then we also have a segment for events and activities. So we have a massive inflatable park that we bring in. We have a lot of great kids activities. We have a lot of, really, really great companies that we work with, whether they give us a reduced rate or, they donate some products and services. We have a trackless train that runs around the event. The kids love that. And then we have a touch-a-truck as well. So we have a lot of great construction companies, landscapers, you name it, heavy equipment operators, dump trucks, and the fire department. We'll probably have up to 30 or 40 heavy equipment vehicles, whether it's, equipment or trucks. The kids can climb all around it, check it out. And we also have a food truck section,
Nice.
So we have a lot of great food items. Seeing some of the options this year will definitely make you hungry, whether, you want a meal or a dessert or, a special treat or something. There's a lot of great vendors. So, yeah, the event's split up. We have a lot of the vendors and businesses on the town common, and that's where a lot of the children's activities are. Pumpkin decorating as well. That was a hit last year. And then across the street in the newly paved, I'll call it, student parking lot next to the new town hall, that section's back open now. That's where we'll have the touch-a-truck. That's where we'll have a lot of the food vendors. We have some other activities up our sleeve right now that we're still working out the kinks. So we're not totally ready to talk about them, but I think what I'm sharing right now is enough to really get folks excited to come down.
There seems to be a lot. So, you really have it all covered.
Yeah,
from breakfast on, lunches and everything there.
We want families to come down at 10 a.m. and spend the day. There is so much to do. Whether you want to come down and eat some really good food, have the kids run around in a safe, fun environment with their friends and family and, people that they see during this time of year. People love to come together on these community events. We have 2 music areas. We have music all day long. We have live music in the student parking lot for the touch-a-truck and the food festival. And then we also have a DJ on the town common. So there's something for everyone. We partner up with a lot of the local dance studios. So they have performers that come in throughout the day and put on nice shows. We have a big picnic area set up this year for families. So whether they want to bring in their own food or perhaps try one of the delicious items that's there. It's an event designed for the whole family for the full day. It's 10 to 4. We try and hit it off after folks, wake up, get the kids ready for the day, and then, the event ends before, the kids need to, tuck away for the night. But, yeah, it's a good time.
That's the perfect setup. So, it seems like it's going to be lively. So you have on the common, you have all sorts of activities and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. You have areas where people can eat, relax, take a break. Talk more about, so in the parking lot, I think last year one of the focuses I noticed was the touch-a-truck event, a lot of different trucks and things like that. So the kids will have plenty of activities over there to climb on things and stuff of that nature, so that'll be good.
Yeah, the kids love it. Whether, I remember being a boy growing up, I loved seeing the big trucks. I loved, watching all the construction activities, and I think a lot of younger kids can relate to that. So, kids love that, and the neighboring construction companies that we work with loved the event, whether they got some good PR or just seeing the kids' faces, as they were climbing around their prestigious trucks and, seeing, all the big items in person. It's awe-inspiring. It's a lot of fun. And we intentionally put that right next to the food area. There's a lot of fun happening right there. There's a lot of great things to check out. And then just a second across the street, you have over 60 vendors, whether it's crafters or businesses. We had to put a cap on it this year. We're very tight on space. So, I'll put out my last-minute PSA that we only have a couple of spots left, whether you're a vendor, a business, a crafter, or a food truck. We're pretty much nearing capacity, which is awesome. We had folks calling us back in April to see when they could start booking for Fall Fest, and it's certainly an honor to be thought of as an event that folks want to book first. But it also means we have to get the ball rolling. And when we're planning an event like Fun on the 4th, it's hard to juggle that and Fall Fest. But fortunately, we have some awesome people on the committee that are really focused and dedicated just on Fall Fest to make sure it's a great event for everyone.
That's incredible. So you're going to have a ton of vendors there, and all sorts of different organizations will be represented, from your nonprofits to your businesses and things of that nature. And then the Touch a Truck, I noticed that you guys had everything from construction. Do you have first responders involved in that too this year?
Yeah, we invite, our local partners with, the fire department. They brought a truck down last year. I'm sure, pending no major matters this year, they'll bring something down. Kids love fire trucks and, getting the little stickers and whatnot. So, yeah, we had the Army National Guard last year as well, which I'm hoping will return this year. They brought a lot of heavy military equipment, so it was neat to see that. We try and design the event for every age, whether you're 3 years old or you're 83 years old. If you don't want to be crawling around in a truck, if that's not your thing, walk around, grab some food, grab some nice, gifts. We like to think this is almost a kickoff to the season. I know people don't want to think about the holidays, but what's better than handmade local gift?
Right.
The event is, it's a fairly affordable event. We do have an admission. It's $8 for adults this year, $5 for children. That's required for everybody walking through the gates.
Okay.
All of those events either cover the event overhead, as you can imagine. It does have quite a bit of expense to operate the event, whether it's a lot of the fencing that we rent, a lot of the tents that we rent, tables, and then the vendors have a nominal donation fee to enter as well. But the event is ultimately a big fundraiser for the Fun on the 4th. The Fun on the 4th is a fairly sizable event in terms of cost. Fireworks are not cheap nowadays.
Right.
So, we use a lot of the proceeds from Fall Fest to help keep a lot of our other events running. So, yeah. I mean, we have something for everybody of every age. And if you just kind of want to come down and listen to some great live music, all of our musicians are from Wilmington. A lot of our vendors are from Wilmington. And a lot of our participants are from Wilmington. So it's Wilmington supporting Wilmington. We like to keep as much as we can in-house as possible.
That's awesome. And then you said there was a fee to enter. So does that cover pretty much everything on the grounds? You can go into the bouncy house area and things of that nature, touch a truck and everything?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the way that we basically phrase it is that, the fee covers everything unless otherwise noted. If you're going to be going up to some vendor booths and purchasing some handmade gifts, that's to be expected. You'll be having to pay for that. Any food you'll be having to pay for. Any merchandise, things like that. But, to crawl around on the bouncy houses or get your face painted or paint a pumpkin, we have, I think, some cookie decorating this year, the touch a truck area, the trackless train. That's all, it's all covered by the fee. So, it's a very nominal fee for a family to have a lot of fun for, a Saturday.
Right. Now, you mentioned all those different activities and things like, for instance, the 5K and, stuff that might not necessarily be upfront with that. So, what is there that people should preemptively look into, plan? Is there a website built, I assume?
I know.
Sign up for things?
Yeah, I'm glad you just asked. So we actually just launched a brand new website the last couple of weeks. We transitioned from funonthefourth.com to www.wilmingtoncelebrates.com. So, we did a rebrand the last couple of months. We put our heads together and we said, when this group was formed, we have focused on one thing, and that was the 4th of July celebration. Since the late 1980s, we've certainly expanded, and we now focus on community celebrations. So we're still the 4th of July committee, but we like to, really focus ourselves around the Wilmington celebrations, whether we're celebrating the 4th of July, we're celebrating the fall, or we're celebrating the kickoff to the holiday season. So all the information's on our website. The 5K does have a different, registration area where, everything, is listed on the website for that, but the 5K is $35 to enter, but that includes a T-shirt, a medal, water stops, professionally chipped timing. So, it includes a lot for that. And then, refreshments at the end. And then you can also pre-purchase wristbands the day before. So Friday, September 27th, down the 4th of July headquarters. You could save your time in line. The lines can get quite long on Fall Fest.
Right.
A lot of people come at once. So, I highly recommend folks come down and register early. Pick up some wristbands for the family. Everybody this year is required to have a wristband to walk the Fall Fest. Last year it was kind of loosely enforced, but this year we put our heads together. We kind of redesigned some of the event, and we said, we really need, as much of this, wristband income that we can get to cover some of these overhead expenses. Things like the trackless train, things like the inflatables for the kids, things like the pumpkin decorating. We want to make sure we can continue to give all of that for such a, reasonable price.
Now, on that note, I know that with the 4th of July event, regarding wristbands and things like that. That was more for the rides and things of that nature. This year, these are more just to walk the grounds. Like, for instance, the inflatables and things like that. That'll all kind of be included in it, or are they going to be separate rides like there was in the 4th?
Yeah, everything. You buy one wristband, it gets you into everything.
Okay.
Everything except for the 5K. That's
Right.
kind of a separate juncture there. But this year, for folks that are coming to Fall Fest, I certainly hope everybody watching this is coming to Fall Fest. But you'll see that we have a new entry plan. It'll be very, very clear, no matter which direction you're coming to the town common from. We're going to have lots of signage, lots of stickers on the ground, kind of directing you where to go. We're trying to flow, the pedestrian traffic into certain areas. Of course, safety is of utmost priority, as well as logistics.
That's perfect. And that's exactly where we were going to take this next, because I think Wilmington Celebrates, as it's now known, has definitely had some logistical challenges over the last couple of years with the construction right there. And you did mention that the parking lot's now reopened, but that's where the touch a truck and things like that are about. So talk more about that. So basically, what challenges have you guys had to overcome? And then as far as when families are ready to show up on the day of, we know there are long lines, so definitely get the wristbands the day earlier. But what challenges have you had to overcome? And then as long as a family showing up there, where should you park? What are you doing this year? How does that all working out?
Yeah, great question, Austin. So first and foremost, parking. Our dedicated parking lot this year is St. Thomas, the church right down the street. The high school does have some sporting activities, so we want to be respectful of that and make sure the sporting patrons and the athletes have a place to park. So we're asking event patrons to park at St. Thomas. And then, what else to expect? Just, besides just getting there early, besides buying the wristbands in advance, we want to make this a safe and fun environment for everybody. We'll have a lot of police presence given the number of folks that, will hopefully be coming through.
Right.
And then just an experience that is good for everybody to walk through. Sometimes you come through these activities and it could be overwhelming. Everything is smushed into one area, which to your original question, the logistics are of utmost concern. When much of the area that we typically operate our events in is closed, it kind of throws a needle into things here. So this year we opened up the town common for a lot of our vendors. Last year, everything was in the parking lot. So this year it kind of has two different areas, but the way that we're flowing and the way that we're designing the pedestrian experience and the patron experience, everything will have a nice even flow. Everything will be as open as possible, so you're not crammed into one area. We're not trying to make this feel like a line in Disney, where it's never ending. We are looking forward to hopefully having up to 70 volunteers that day. Whether they're facilitating wristband sales or just helping folks answer questions, get vendors set up. It's an army, it's a labor of love, but everybody that is behind the curtain trying to plan this knows that we're trying to make this as smooth as possible and fun for everyone.
Yeah, that's crucial, and that kind of goes into. I always ask, and you always tell me, but basically, just to reiterate, so there is a large law enforcement present there. There is a logistical challenge as far as the town workers, things like that. And so that's all stuff that incurs costs. And this is not actually a town-run committee, correct? This is totally public.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. We have no affiliation with the town of Wilmington. We are a private corporation, like I mentioned earlier. We are a not-for-profit corporation. We're all volunteers. However, we need to work closely with the town. The town, of course, donates some resources, as they do as well for other community events that occur in the town. We do not have any funding from the town. So, much of what we truck in, in terms of, event activities and infrastructure, the hard costs of the event, that's all out of the 4th of July bank account, if you will, which is why we have things like this wristband fee. Right. I think it's a very reasonable fee, but when you add up at the end of the day, the amount of activities that you can take advantage of. And again, that's all up to you, what you want to do and what you want to see. But, we feel that $8 and $5 is a pretty reasonable fee to get, the amount of activities and fun.
Right. And I'm really looking forward to it, my family. So one thing, we'll kind of end on this and things of this nature is, we talked about the cost and we talked about everything that you guys have to do. And we just, I always like to talk about this because this is one thing. Planning the date, booking all these vendors, and then planning and then the day of and the operations of the actual events, everything is all volunteerism, right? And there's a ton of planning that goes into this.
Yeah, we don't really take a break.
Right.
We used to have our summers off. That was always our motto. As soon as the 4th of July, Fun on the 4th was wrapped up, we would take the month of August off. We'd come back together around September to sit around the table and start planning next year's Fun on the 4th. But since we introduced Fall Fest, there's no rest.
Right.
There's a total of, we probably have over 120 vendors coming in, whether it's artisans or at activities for the family. So that's 120 contracts, if you will, that we assign and we book. So there's a lot of logistics that goes on. There's a lot of personalities that you deal with as well. Mm-hmm. Anytime, anybody books a vendor or somebody to do something for you, there's terms and conditions, there's expectations. So we're managing expectations for 120 plus matters. So there's a lot, but we have a very dedicated group, and it's a lot of fun. With all of the events that we do, there's always a business side,
right?
And then there's always the side that the public sees, which is the fun side. The actual events occurring. But without the business side, there is no fun side. So. Right. Sometimes, and I appreciate opportunities like this to sit down to talk about some of the behind the scenes, because a lot of folks don't realize, not only are these events occurring in the town, but they're occurring from volunteers that want to make a difference in this town. We had a group of volunteers last year that sat around the table and said, listen, Wilmington's lacking some fall activities. We're looking around other communities and we're seeing them have all these harvest festivals and all these fun activities. We need to have that in Wilmington. The residents have an appetite for it. So that's where the idea of Fall Fest was born. And, I'm glad to see the anticipation and the excitement for it. It was very overwhelming last year, but it was very satisfying.
Right.
You leave the event with a smile on your face, knowing how much of an impact it made on others. And, when you have others asking, tell me about the date for next year so I can, reserve on the calendar already. There is no better feeling than people's excitement for what's to come.
That's great. And I really do appreciate it. As a Wilmington resident and a family man, this is an incredible day, another one that you guys put on. And it's one amazing day I took part in last year, and I'd highly recommend it to anybody out there. And yeah, just remember, I think that's one thing we talk about is it's all volunteerism. It really is a ton of work that goes into it. Logistical challenges are not small. And so really, to touch on that right before we close out, how do we pick the dates for Fall Fest? Just like July 4th, it's going to be based on a lot of different things.
To be honest, last year we set on the last Saturday in September. A lot of it had to do with availability of some of our bigger vendors. We have vendors of every size that we hire for the event or we bring in or they, participate. So to be honest, I don't know the rationale. It may have been personal decisions based on committee availability. If the committee is not available on the event days, then there are no events. It's the committee that mans and operates them. So the last Saturday in September seems to stick. It's a great day. Hopefully the weather is great. Last year was fantastic. And then in the event it is inclement, then we always reserve the Saturday after. This year it's October 5th as a rain date.
So there is a rain date.
Yep, we do have a rain date. Most of Fun on the 4th does not have a rain date besides the big fireworks night, of course. Right. But with the anticipation of Fall Fest, we feel it's warranted to have a rain date. You put all this time and effort in, and if gosh forbid it's rained out, then you hate to see that. So
right.
Yeah. So this year, Saturday, September 28th, from 10 to 4, we'll have our full schedule up in early September. We're ironing out a couple last minute details right now. Of course, as you mentioned earlier, we have a lot of logistical challenges with the different layout, but we're very excited. We're very fortunate for the town for allowing us to continue this beloved community tradition, and we're, of course, very excited to present our second annual Fall Fest to the town.
Super excited to attend it, and I can't wait for the date. One last thing, one more time, what was the website that it's on?
Yeah, thanks, Austin. So it's www.wilmingtonscelebrates.com, and that's for all of our events. Fall Fest, Fun on the 4th, tree lighting. You can find information on there for everything.
Incredible.
Yes, sir. Yeah, check our Facebook page, check our website. We'll have everything out there.
That's so exciting. Well, we can't wait, and I'll see you the day of.
Sounds good. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for coming, Patrick.
Thank you.